Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I keep doing these intros where I'm just sort of holding you. Maybe I should start being a little bit more professional and finding a place to put the camera down. But I've been distracted and we have pulled over on the side of the road to go enter a woodland, because this woodland is very autumnal for one, but it does have a look of ancientness about it. I'm not sure if that's a term, ancientness. What do you reckon, Pauline? Ancientness? Yeah. That is a term. Pauline has spoken. It is official. But yeah, it's got a feeling of old worldy. So fingers crossed, one will find our way into it. But look at some of these trees. And it's very overcast, a little bit damp, and there's a good chance we're going to get wet. But the first challenge is to get over this fence just here. So I'll see you on the other side. Ta-da! We are on the other side. Now, I think, let's try and find some shelter. But first of all, how cool is that tree right there? That tree is super cool. If it was really, really misty, I think that tree would come into its own. So we're having a nice slow walk through the woodland, and as of yet, nothing has stood out to me. Nothing's been like, yes, I am that shot. This is what you are looking for. Capture an image of me. And that's often the case with woodland photography. I feel like I almost have an anxiety over autumn because I get so excited about photographing autumn that I must produce a certain level of work, something Instagram worthy, which I think in turn makes it difficult to be out with your camera trying to capture these shots. It's a funny thing, social media, and how it makes the photography work. Did you see the deer? Loads of deer just run away. It's a shame that I've scared them off, but also quite cool to see them. A good image of autumnal woodland photography. It helps when the subject stands out. So you're always looking for interesting shapes. Maybe a little bit of opening area, a little bit like this one just behind me here, where you've got the interest of the bracken in the foreground with the trees in the background, and how you can play with that to capture that final image. And I am definitely aware that I'm starting to waffle. But sometimes, just by walking along and waffling, I make some sense, sometimes. So we've decided to do a little bit of a location switch, and we've come to the woods near Falling Foss this time. Hopefully, gonna find something a little bit more autumnal than what I'm capturing right now, because you'll notice as well as I do, everything's very green. Like, very, very green. As green as Pauline's eyes. Bright green. And, yeah. I don't know. Autumn looks like it's gone. Panicked me and made me think it's all over. And then I come out and it's not really here yet. It's very strange. Very, very strange. So I think I found my first composition, and I'm excited because I was starting to lose hope. You know, when you're walking around and everything starts to look the same and nothing stands out anymore, and you know, yada yada. Anyway, I think I found a composition. For this shot, I already have my 15 to 30mm lens on. It's not that one. I'm thinking 24 to 70 for this one. So hopefully managing to keep everything dry. A little switch over of lenses. And then off into the river, I think. Gonna zoom in. Oh, got a wet foot. So here we are, we're in live view now, and it's on 2.8 because I've not adjusted all the settings. But I've got this rock just down here, that rock, leading onto that rock, leading onto the focal point at the end of the scene over here, this tree. Now this canopy here doesn't belong to just that one tree. It's built up by lots of different trees, but I'm still gonna treat it like it's only one canopy, okay? And I'm gonna make sure it's all nice and autumnal colors and looking beautiful. And I think this is going to be a really nice little scene. Okay, so I'm going to capture this image in one image. And all I'm going to expose for is the highlights at the end. That to me is the most important thing. Everything else can be nice and dark and dramatic, and I can bring out in post. For the shots, I'm shooting on 8 seconds, f11, ISO 64. And my plan is I'm going to get a nice ethereal water by having that longer exposure. And then at the end, I'll put a Gaussian blur on there, make that sky, then trees nice and vibrant, make them look so beautiful. And that to me is a beautiful first shot. Check that out. Nice, simple, got one wet foot, totally worth it. Fingers crossed, a beautiful image. Let's go find the next one. Definitely starting to get dark, but it is such a shame that autumn is not completely committed yet, because that beech tree there, that would make one hell of an image. And the fact it's got a huge clearing all the way around it is just awesome. I'm happy with the one shot that I've captured so far today, but I don't want to leave with just one shot. I want one more, and I think we may almost be at my second shot. I kind of bookmarked this place the first time I saw it. I was like, some point soon there is going to be an image there, and I think that may be today. There's not one tree that stands out and holds the torch for all the other trees, but as a hillside, that hillside is pretty incredible. I'm thinking having this little waterfall here as my foreground interest, and then up onto that hillside for my focal point, because them beech trees, them beech leaves that are down there look absolutely incredible. They really do. Very beautiful. Right, time to get set up and get this shot before it is night time. Okay, so I think I've got my shot all lined up, and I've gone quite heavy on my immediate foreground because I really like the way these leaves down here are spinning around. I would show you what I'm looking at through the back of my camera, but being it's so dark and stuff, I need to really start bringing the colours out. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do this on multiple exposures through different styles to capture different things. So the first thing I'm going to capture is that water in the immediate foreground. Okay, so there we are. I've got my first shot just here, and I'm liking the way the water is, but I'm feeling I'm cutting out too much of the story. So I'm going to switch up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into landscape. I'm thinking what I'm going to do to capture this is I'm going to go for a vertical panorama. So I'm going to capture this bottom corner here with a faster exposure. I didn't like how slow that was. So I'm going to boost my ISO up to ISO 400. So again, I don't want to go too far. And I'm going to open my aperture to f8, which should give me enough depth to be able to tell that story in detail. Which gives me a shutter speed, 1.3 seconds. So it should still be nice and ethereal and slow, but still capturing enough detail that it's not too slow and boring and mushy and cloud-like. So I've captured that first one, and it is looking very cool, and I am going to warm these up quite substantially. I'm just going to pan up to capture my second image now. And there we are. So for this one, I'm dropping that exposure down nice and low because it's more about the light coming through the trees in the background and making sure none of that's blown out. Everything else I can doctor and play with in Photoshop. As long as that light coming through isn't blown out, everything else is recoverable. So I think I've captured that image now. And I'm gonna have a little wander further down and see if I can capture anything else. But I think that might be it for this evening. As beautiful as it's been, it's still not quite full autumn. In fact, there's a little shot over there. I might go and see if I can capture. So for this final composition, as I've got this one rock with this beautiful bit of leaf down here, coming around this way, guiding your eye through. I've got a beautiful swirly bit, love my swirly bits. And then I've managed to get it so I'm cutting off all the light that's coming over the top here. And it's all about these two arches of branches coming over, still quite green, but they have that autumn feel about them. So I'm happy with how this is looking. There, coming through, swirly bit, and bubbles over the top, looking beautiful. For my actual shots, I'm not going to be shooting as wide open, so f8, 4-second exposure, ISO 640, firing that off. Might be a little bit long, but ethereal in autumn kind of goes together hand in hand, and that I think is quite a nice image. Check that out. I am super happy with how that shot turned out. This is going to be the number one, the banger, this shot right here. Super happy. But I think that is going to be all from me this week. Autumn's here, ladies and gentlemen. Get out, get shooting, and get them shots, because it's never here long. It's never here long.